Hey guys, this is Project1999, and today we're going to be making an X handle like this, except it's going to be for this X head that I actually made out of a ball peen hammer. I heated it up and pounded it out, and I had made a handle before, but it was out of pine, which was kind of stupid because it cracked. So this time I got some hardwood. I believe this is a shovel handle, but me being the resourceful person that I am, I found this in the trash in my school, picked it up, and bring it home. So let's get on with this. Alright, to start off, we're going to need to trim this down to size. So first I'm going to cut off this end right here, which has got some glue or something on it. Either way, it's pretty rough, and I want a nice clean edge of it. Alright, well, that'll work. This isn't too big of a problem because the handle's not going to be that thick, so we'll work around that. And now, let's say it'll be about this long. We'll cut it off right then, about right here, and we'll go from there. Alright, here we go. Now time to bring it down. Alright, now I bring you up close here so you can see what I'm doing. And remember, I kind of screwed up here and broke it off, and I said we were going to work around that. So, I'm just going to take this marker and we're going to outline where exactly what wood we don't want. We'll just mark it. And we're going to worry about getting these sides off before we worry about the curving and stuff. And to do that, we're going to use probably a wood file. Alright, it's actually called the wood rasp. So, sorry if I made anyone mad. We're just going to take this, run it along until we get a flat side, and I'll probably clean it up on my brand spanking new belt sander that I got this weekend. So I'm going to speed this up because you guys kind of want to see it, but not real time. But before that, I'm going to actually try out this new knife that I made just this weekend and see how that works. Try to loosen up the load on my belt sander. Alright, this is what I got it to, and I ended up using the axe, as you can kind of tell. And I'm going to take it on this 80 grit belt, and we're just trying to get a somewhat smooth surface on it. I'm going to go back and clean this side up with a knife. This side, on the other hand, is looking pretty nice though. Alright, here it is, all kind of rough sanded, and it's got a thickness of, at least at this part right here, about an inch. This part up here maybe an inch and a quarter to an inch and a half. That doesn't matter too much right now. So now we're gonna get on to the shaping of the handle, and again I'm kind of modeling after this wood. Well, this model, I couldn't tell you what it is, but just gonna kind of trace it, slash throw in little design of my own, and we'll see how that works. Alright, this is kind of what it'll look like, and as you'll notice, the model, well, at least what I drew out, is a lot shorter than the board, and that's because the head's a lot smaller. The head is right here, and that would just look kind of awkward having a giant handle with a real small blade. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off right here, and I'll come back to it once that's done. Alright, this is what it looks like. It's probably about 10 inches, which I guess is kind of to scale. This will be a nice little, I guess, pocket axe. And we're gonna go ahead and use a mixture of a wood rasp and a knife to remove most of this material. Finish it off on the belt sander, then hand sand it, and we should have a pretty nice looking handle. On some parts, like right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that off. I'm gonna use a hacksaw because it's got smaller teeth than that other big saw I was using. And I might be able to split off this inside, we'll just have to see. Alright, here's where I got it in that probably about a 10-minute period. I took most of the deep scratches out and I got the form basically done. I'll probably go back with a file, which kind of defeats the purpose of this, but this is basically just shaping it. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a night and get back to it tomorrow. Alright, we're back here a couple days later actually, and I just took off a chunk or two out of this, smoothed it down, and now it feels a lot better. And now we're going to work on the top part, which will be sticking into the head of our axe or tomahawk. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and clamp it up in here and use the wood rasp and just try to center it as best as I can and file it down to where it can almost fit into our head. Now I got the head to the point where it'll just barely fit in the tomahawk head, and now I'm just gonna sand it down using this belt sander. Alright, I filed everything to finish sizes and I sanded everything with a belt sander. There's still a lot of cross-grain scratches, and for that you need to do that yourself without power tools, which I don't know, I kind of like it, but this is what it looks like after I'm done sanding. It looks alright. There's a couple deep scratches, but I'm not making this for anyone but me, so as long as it's functional, I'll still be happy. And we're ready to put the head on, so we'll slide it in there as best we can. I'm sure this probably isn't the best way to do it, but we'll figure it out. I just shave this down a little bit more, and hopefully this should do the trick. Alright, for the wedge, I'm using this pretty thick nail. And since you can see there, it doesn't quite go to the top. So I got this little tool, I think it's a pin of some sort, and I'll put this on top of the nail and just drive that in. Alright, it's drove on in there, and once again, this head is not going anywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and stain this, and a real cool trick, if you don't have any stain, you can use extra virgin olive oil. That does a real good job of bringing out the grain. and then you can coat it almost like a poly coat with super glue. I just got a paper towel for staining, and this is the extra virgin olive oil. We're just gonna go ahead, take off the cap, and pour some on there, and we'll see how this looks stained. This is just after the first coat, and you can see that really brings out that, I'm gonna call it an eye, where the grain kind of circles out, and I missed a spot right here, and I'm gonna go back and get it. But basically, I'm just gonna apply 2 or 3 coats of this after each coat dries, and then I'll get back to you with super glue. Alright, I put 2 coats of the oil on. The second coat didn't make too much of a difference, but I think that's because this wood doesn't have too much color, but I think it still looks alright. I did the same trick on a cedar that I sanded down real fine on a knife handle, and it made it pop. I mean, it was a really cool knife handle. Now we're gonna get on with coating this, and here I got some super glue. You're also gonna need some coffee filters. You're probably wondering why we'd use coffee filters, and that's because they're designed to be lint free, and that way you don't have little particles stuck into your handle forever. So try to keep these clean, by the way. Now with this, you probably want a mask, or you want to be in a really well ventilated area, because this stuff kicks off some fumes. And you're just going to take your super glue and squeeze a nice line over it, and fold your coffee filters up a few times so that way it doesn't leak through. You're gonna also want to make sure you're wearing gloves and rub this in. We're gonna let this dry for about, let's go 15 minutes. Here's the finished product, and I think it looks alright. You can tell it's homemade, especially right up here. I couldn't get the oil in there, and I didn't get the super glue in there because the oil wasn't in there. Here we got a rotten log. We're gonna test this, make sure it doesn't fly off, because I know some of you guys might be thinking, since it didn't go all the way through the head, it might fall off. Now, after a couple days of use, the head did come loose, and I ended up just banging it on the anvil and popping it off, and I made the wood go deeper into the head, and you can't see it too, oh, there you can see it. But I also put a screw in there as a wedge, and I also put a washer on top of the screw, so not only is it pinching the wood to the sides of the head, but it's also going to keep it on top of there with a washer. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.